LIS2000 online classmates. I am Kim Podlesnik, the presenter for the Luddites. Today, I am bringing you our research on academic libraries and technology's influence on the physical library space. Our team is Alice Kalinowski, the organizer, Heidi Leeper, the editor, Rachel Moore, the writer, and me, Kim, the presenter. We chose this topic because several members of our group are entering the academic library field and have even encountered the unique challenge that physical space presents in the new world of the technologized library before. We wanted to explore how academic libraries have risen to the challenges of digitization while still maintaining their historical role as the heart of the university. In the past 2 decades, libraries have been moving ever increasingly toward technology and digitized collections. Academic librarians face a unique set of challenges when it comes to the physical space within their libraries. There is a need for print collections, but also for patrons to gather to complete assignments and work. The trend for libraries as they update their spaces is to shift from a collection focus to a user focus. In the image below, we have provided an example of a traditional library. You can see the emphasis is on the physical collection. This library is devoting the majority of its space to housing books and print periodicals. Aiding the trend toward user-focused libraries, in some cases, is the increase in technologies that are available that have caused a shift in how spaces can be utilized. Taking these changes into consideration, the amount of things that an academic librarian needs to consider when planning changes in the physical library space are different than what they were before, and have raised some challenges that had not been considered before, but should be. We'll address those challenges in just a few moments. First, we'll talk about our methodology. For our peer-reviewed research, we consulted a variety of databases, including library and information science abstracts, library, information science, and technology abstracts, and library, literature, and information science. We picked these databases because they are the most relevant and are standard use for this field. Our trade publications were selected for the very same reasons. Among those chosen, we looked to journals and online spaces like Library Journal, ACR Log, and EDUCAUSE. We were looking for a comprehensive scope of information. We wanted to examine not only case studies, but studies that showed a survey of opinion across many universities. For example, we looked at Library Journal because we wanted to see how publications that aren't specific to academic librarianship had researched this topic. We looked at ACR Log, a blogging community of academic and research librarians, for more information and analysis. And here we have listed 2 key search terms we utilized. Now, back to the challenges. In our analysis, what we wanted to do was take a look at the specific challenges that academic libraries are facing in this push for modernization of the physical space. We also wanted to look at how they go about not only solving those problems today, but also look toward the future. Here are the key challenges we identified. First bullet, getting buy-in from various stakeholders across campus who have different ideas about library spaces. Libraries get their money from the administration, so therefore it is important for librarians to be able to sell their ideas to the higher-ups. This being said, librarians also need to recognize that the library is representative of the campus learning culture, and every member of the community has a stake in the space. Next point. Ensuring library spaces are flexible to meet the needs of students in the future because of rapid technological and pedagogical change. As technology changes so rapidly, library spaces need to be designed to respond to these changes in a time and cost-effective way. One way libraries have done this is by creating open spaces that can be divided with movable walls and other furniture into smaller sections. Another is by creating various size study and meeting rooms as well as multi-purpose rooms that can be used for events, lectures, and other campus activities and programs. One example of how quickly library spaces can be outdated, however, is at the Shapiro Undergraduate Library at the University of Michigan. In 2013, the library's entrance was remodeled to include areas intended for group collaboration that had projection screens available for student use. Once the library was finally able to adequately raise students' awareness of the screens, the VGA cords the screens used to plug into computers were no longer commonly used on students' laptops, which tended to only have ports for HDMI cords. To combat this, the library had to provide converters for students to use in order for the screens to be accessible. Next bullet. Designing library spaces to meet the needs of various students, including undergraduates who tend to prefer social and group work spaces, and graduate students who prefer individual and quiet study areas. Various studies have been done that show different types of students prefer different types of work environments. With smaller percentages of library space taken up with stacks, there are more areas for a variety of different types of student work environments, from open concept atriums and main hubs that encourage social and group learning, to private study rooms, to quiet reading rooms, and individual study areas. In order for libraries to provide adequate study space to a wide variety of students, they need to assess what types of students they need to cater to, and what types and balance of environments are necessary. And our final bullet for challenges: providing both common and emerging technology to meet the needs and expectations of a variety of students, both those who lack access to technology and those who want to experiment with new things. Universities will also want to be mindful of having a lot of outlets and outlet-accessible tables. There should also be spaces dedicated for group collaboration with technology, such as computer study labs. Common technologies that should be available for student checkout include iPads, laptops, battery packs, chargers, and headphones. Our second image here shows an example of a newer approach to library spaces. Here you can see furniture that is movable to accommodate group and social learning, as well as the incorporation of technology into the space, with the screens students can project their laptop screens onto. It shows how the library has decided to respond to pedagogical changes in higher education that focuses on group and collaborative work. As we are all aware from having this and other group projects, both in undergraduate class and now at the iSchool, academia has moved to focus on trying to produce graduates who have skills employers want, and this includes the ability to work in teams and to collaborate with others to get projects done. Libraries have responded to this and created environments, often the only ones available on campus, where groups can get together and work on their projects, either by pushing together the furniture they need, using technology like screencasting, or reserving group study rooms. And so, these are our recommendations for how academic libraries can address the above-mentioned challenges. Be flexible when we're planning library spaces, working with administration, faculty, staff, and students to build the best space for the entire academic community. The library is representative of the entire campus community, and therefore, every member of the university has a stake. Although librarians might have their own ideas of what a library space should look like, it is important to include the expectation of the entire campus. Collaboration is key in creating an academic library that is a learning-centric, technologically focused entity. Next bullet. Create library spaces that are flexible to meet the changing needs of students, faculty, and staff on campus, including designing areas for collaboration, teaching, and other social learning environments that utilize new technologies. As mentioned above in the challenges, these are dedicated spaces for collaboration that should offer technologies and be accessible to them. There should also be a variety of common technologies available for loan. Use a variety of assessments after renovations to evaluate if and how it improves student learning and experience. Instead of simply measuring how gate counts increase after renovations, because they always do, it will be more beneficial for libraries to see how the renovation helped it meet its mission and strategic goals. This can be done through a variety of methods, from watching and documenting student behavior, to holding focus groups, to asking for student feedback on certain areas on large notepads or whiteboards. While this will require more work, it will allow the library to better justify the cost of the renovation. Ensure library spaces help support both the library's and university's strategic mission, goals, and initiatives. Building from the last point, libraries should relate how the new library spaces help advance the entire university's mission to better position itself as a crucial part of the institution when everyone just uses Google. In an age where libraries are increasingly having to prove their value on campus, it is important for them to not miss an opportunity to showcase all the cool things a library is doing for the entire university. This could include tracking students' use of library resources and services, to seeing if there are correlations between increased library use and better GPAs and faster graduation rates. Share library spaces with other campus entities that align with the library's mission to improve relationships across campus and to provide better service to students. While libraries do not always need to say yes when asked to share their space with other campus organizations and departments, it is important for libraries to understand that the more they allow others in, the better relationships they create, the more political capital they earn, and the better they are able to serve students. In order to ensure the library is using its space effectively, it is important for the library to partner with groups that align with their own strategic mission and goals. Over the past 20 years, library spaces and services have dramatically changed because of new technologies. The fact that the majority of most academic library resources are available online, and online reference and instruction is commonly used, shows just how much things have changed from the stacks-heavy and reference desk-centered libraries of the past. Now, libraries are partnering with various departments and student support services across campus to provide learning and education commons for students to engage in group and social learning, while still having to provide quiet study areas for graduate and non-traditional students. Furthermore, as the need for increased assessment of all library service, it is important for libraries to ensure they are assessing how their spaces are or are not contributing to their mission and strategic goals. And that concludes our presentation on academic libraries and technology's influence on library spaces. Thank you for joining us.